Hello, hello, hello. Here we are on our first Own Your Genius episode in a series of 6. I love these. This is the third year we've done these, and it's so much fun to me. We started Own Your Genius in March or in April of 2020. So just kind of go backwards to April of 2020 and think about where you might have been in those moments, right? There was a lot happening in our world. We were all thinking, oh, it's just going to be a few weeks before we step into, while we're going through all the stuff that we're going through, then we'll be back to normal. Well, who knew that, we'd go on this journey that we've been on over the last couple of years. And to me, this has been one of the most fun things that I have done in this Facebook community on social, because it's really about bringing the voices of so many of the women that I love so much out into the world. It's about sharing the good work that they're doing. I have always known that I get to work with change maker women who are out to make a difference in the world, right? It's the impact. That's what draws them into my community, is the impact that they're going to make. And what I know is that my community does go out and make a huge impact. So it was really fun. Last year, we actually went back through the people that had been in the Own Your Genius series and in my Mastermind programs for the last 2 years. And we started calculating, how many stages have you been on? How many podcasts have you been on? And it was such a fun exercise to go through, because when we started into the pandemic, what I knew was it was not a time for us to hush our voices, to hide, to sit back into the shadows. It was time to take care of ourselves first, but then it was to go out and make a difference with the gifts of who we are. And that's really what this community has done over and over and again. And it's so exciting. When I actually printed out this is the stats, why visibility matters. So from the last 2 Own Your Genius groups, they jumped on, and this was stats from last fall, so that they're a little bit different than that. They've grown, they've continued to grow, but this are stats from last fall. 138 people, or 138 stages that group sat on, reaching 11,325 people. One landed on a TEDx. One became the most powerful women in business, was named to that list. We had online communities grew by 8,500. People guested on 148 podcasts. 4 podcasts were started. They hosted their own events, reaching over 1,200 people. There was a couple of books published. They served 11,130 clients. And that was from the last 2 Own Your Genius series, because they were showing up. They started to show up. They started to say, I have important things to share with the world. And they started to really jump out into the world with their voice. And to me, that's what this is all about. And I know these ladies that you're going to be meeting over the next 6 episodes of this. You're going to hear how they're raising up their voice, how they're making an impact, and how they're really stepping into the light of who they are. It is so much fun. It's a really beautiful, it's going to inspire you. So you're going to want to tune in. Make sure you're marking this on your calendar for every day for the next, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week at 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So this is such a great space for us to be able to jump in here and really just start to see how this is all working. I mean, how people are getting out and sharing their voices. And what I know is this work that we do together does get people's voices out. And so if you are being inspired as we are moving through all of these conversations, as we glimpse into the businesses of these extraordinary women, if you're being inspired and want to be in community with these extraordinary women, do reach out to me. I've set up 5 spots over the next 2 weeks where you guys can really have some one-on-one time with me. So if you're being called to that, just put into an email at Cami@CamiGellner.com, and I'll tell you more about this as we wrap up. But if you're wanting to grab one of those 5 spots, jump out there and do that, because and we can really dig into how your voice is coming out into the world. So I want to introduce you to some really extraordinary women that I love dearly. So first of all, we've got Asali Locke-Ellison, and she is helping firms and people shine their top talent out into the world, shine their lights out into the world. And she's going to be telling you more about that here in a moment. Charisse Sisou, who is out there, she's a modern day priestess who is helping women who lead, right? She's really helping women get out and show up in their full self. And I love the work that she's doing. And we've got Diana Hollister, who is in the world of solar. And this is really about preserving our planet, and one rooftop at a time. So this is such a fun space to be able to hear, we've got a very diverse group here, right? We've got a great diverse group. And so I'm excited to dig in, and I haven't even decided who's going to go first here. Diana, we're going to start with you. Let's start with you.
Okay.
And so first of all, I love the work that you're doing in the world of solar. I mean, I came out of the world of the oil and gas industry, and it served my family very well for many years. And that was a long time ago. And I'm so passionate about looking into different ways of providing energy into our world. And I know this is something that you and I have already started to have conversations around. It's like, I opt on my, even on my Excel bill, I opt into the solar power options on my Excel bill so that I'm at least contributing in a different way. And I think this is a really good way that we can start to look at how we show up as citizens in our planet to make a difference. So tell us a little bit about you and what your business is, and then we'll dig into from there.
Okay. So yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana, and our company is Altitude Solar Power. We started out working in solar in Colorado, and actually my son was initially working with solar, and I saw how passionate he was, so passionate. So I thought there is something to this. So he brought me on board. We worked with a couple of different companies. There's a lot of solar companies, as you've probably seen it everywhere. And we ended up being really blessed and found this awesome mentor out of California. And, California kind of set the stage for solar. They started everything. So he had 12 to 15 years of knowledge that he's taught us and continues to teach us, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of companies that don't know exactly how to explain tax credits, for example, and things like that. And he's teaching us the right ways so we can best service our customers. So a little over, my son has been in solar a little over 2 years, and me almost a year and a half now, and we are loving it.
That's awesome. How does it feel doing the work that you get to do? Because I think when you think about each time a client buys from you, you are actually truly changing the planet. So that's super exciting. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, it's super exciting because yes, we get to help save our planet. Like you said, one rooftop at a time. We get to help our customers save money and lock in that rate that never goes up. Think about it. If you could have locked in the price of gasoline in 2000 and now we're paying almost $4 a gallon, that's kind of what you do when you're going solar. You're locking in that price that will never go up. You're locked into that for 25 years. And then that's the main financing people use. And then after that, you have a zero bill. So zero electric, zero solar, free energy. I mean, it's so easy. And so it makes us so happy because again, I have grandchildren. I want to leave behind a good planet for them and for all children of this generation. And so I'm doing that, and I get to help save every customer money. And honestly, most of our customers become our friends because part of what we love. I've always had to find a way in every job I've had. How am I helping people? How am I truly helping? And so I have found it this way. And my son, he's a mini me kind of, he loves it too, Yeah. So
what is it? I mean, so if somebody's thinking about solar in their homes, what would you say to them? And what's some of the things that what are some of the first steps people would really start to think about?
So first I tell people the way we work a little different than most companies. Most companies get your electric bill, they look at your usage, they build the design and say, here's the design, would you like to buy it? We focus on a more educational approach. So when we first meet the customer, we spend about an hour going over all these different things that people don't realize are happening in Colorado. We actually can sell in 33 states, so we're learning all the other states too. But we're focusing on Colorado for right now. So we take this educational approach. We need to look at their annual usage, and if they don't have a whole year's worth of usage, that's okay. We have a square footage chart, and then we look at how much the utility company is charging them per kilowatt. In that meeting, even if they were like, sign me up, I'm so excited, we actually can't, because then we have to go build a design for them. So we kind of do a two process. But the biggest thing also is a lot of companies work on that, like sort of used car salesman, like buy now and we'll save you now. And we don't work that way. We work on the customer's timeline. I just had a customer last week that came back to me after a year and said, we're ready now. And so we work on your timeline. We want it to be right for you. So, that's the way. What I think is so great about that too is when we educate them, they now, if they do meet with another company, they now have questions they probably didn't think of that they can ask these other companies.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that. So one of the things that we really focus on in our mastermind community is getting your voice out into the world. And if the whole world could hear one message from you, what would that be?
Let's stop burning up our planet and lighting it on fire. Put a solar system on top of your house with a 10-foot line that goes into your house, and you've got your own power plant on your house. Because us burning up our planet, honestly, a report was issued last week from the UN saying we have 5 years to really start trying to figure out how can we make a difference. 5 years.
Do something different
before we're in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. So that's part of that, getting in and making choices for how we can create an impact. And each one of us has that power at our fingertips to really look into that.
Yes.
I love that. So you've been a part of our mastermind program for just a short little while. I'd love you to go back to that when you decided you really wanted to join. What was it that you were hoping for? What was there for you?
Well, at the time I was looking at another business, hypnosis, actually, because again, you can help people in an immense way that way. And actually I first got interested in that because I have some health issues and I wanted to heal myself. So I was kind of like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up, Diana? Like, do you want to sell solar, or do you want to help people in this way? And so, you and I had a conversation and I was like, I don't really know. And you were like, well, this program can in part help you figure that out. So here I am. And, we've really delved into the solar in a bigger way. And I think in a lot of ways, the way your program has helped me was to dig deeper and find other ways that I wasn't realizing, that, needs I wasn't even seeing that people had, or questions people had, or just there's so much to solar that people think it's really easy. There's actually a lot to it. So it helped me kind of better decide which path I want to take. And I'm still taking a hypnosis class because, again, I do believe the mind is a powerful tool and it can heal me. But our solar business is so crazy busy right now, which is a blessing and challenging at the same time. But it is so awesome because, again, we're helping save the planet and we're helping people save money. So
I hear such a deeper connection to it. And I think that's part of it, right? What's different right now in your business, at the solar business, than it was, 5 months ago?
So we just got 9:30 last night. We were just told, and we're a broker, so we can work with multiple companies. Our biggest company one of our biggest companies we work with, it's called Power, and it's spelled POWUR. We just got informed that there's an investigation by the U.S. into tariffs. So we are no longer getting allowed. They've stopped all panel shipments from any other country, basically. So we got a lot of our panels from Malaysia and Singapore and China. And so the panels we've been promoting because they're the best. They're made in Norway, actually. Can't get them anymore. So we were we're sold out on 2 other panels. So basically what's going to happen this year is there is probably going to be a panel shortage. We have to figure out how to start making more in the US. The prices of panels are going to go up because now there's a panel shortage. thankfully, because Power is such a huge company, they just spent $28 million buying panels, but we are a big company. There's a lot of people going solar all over, so it's still going to impact. And now every other company that was getting their panels from China can't either. So they are going after the panels that we were getting, like from Norway. So,
okay. So there's going to be a tightening in the market.
it's, yes,
And at the same time, there's also a more demand that
exactly.
is really, so this is a good time to move into action
It's
before.
like, honestly, the sooner the better. On top of that, the 26% tax credit lowers next year, and you have to actually be installed by December 31st to be able to get that credit. There's still a credit next year, but it's lower.
Okay.
So yeah,
Excellent.
this is the time. Now that investigation is supposed to only be a year, so we're hoping that we can kind of breathe a sigh of relief after a year. But I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, I love the work that you're doing, and I think
you.
it does make such a difference for our
Thank
planet.
you.
So keep spreading the word, keep getting your voice out into the
Thank
world
you.
so that you're growing and making
you.
that impact.
Yes, we
Excellent.
do also have community solar for anyone that can't do rooftop solar, and it saves you a little bit, not as much as rooftop, but it's a great option and it's Excel customers. But yeah, it's, everyone's trying to figure out how can we save the planet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, Asali, let's move over to you. So Asali Locke-Ellison, you are doing some amazing. You have a very impressive background in the corporate world, helping corporations in their talent, and this has really been evolving for you. So tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing.
Yes, it has been evolving. So I'm Asali Locke-Ellison, and I run a firm empowered by Asali. And I have been providing services, initially just coaching, empowerment coach, specifically career and life coaching. And what had started to shift for me since I have been a part of this community is really recognizing that I had an opportunity to leverage my people strategy skills and to really tap the recruiting strategy experience that I gained in corporate. And so what I've been doing as of late is supporting companies, moving into the direction of supporting companies with creating customized candidate experiences, because one size does not fit all. Many companies go in and maybe they have the same evaluation form that they do across all business units. And what I found that is more effective is to kind of customize. And so that's one of the areas. The other area is people engagement strategies. For years, having this corporate background, what some people don't know is that I have been in corporate for more than 30 years. And what happened in that experience, for years it was as an administrator, but then also got experience as a marketer. And then I gained experience as a research analyst. And so combined, what I would find was that when I went into these different corporations, for years, I wouldn't want to really commit. I would only contract, because I would go in and I would see how the actual permanent employees were like not very happy.
Right. And there's a lot of that out there. I think companies are shifting, the cultures are shifting. They have to, right?
Yes. And so what has been the magic wand, I say, that I've been able to walk around with in my life, not just in my career, but even in my personal life, is going in and really focusing on helping companies and people connect to the heartbeats of their organizations. Because with that, the transformation that happens when you really listen in and when you really leverage the talent that you have in a way where people feel heard. You hear that now more than ever, but really honing in on what people's gifts are and then using that instead of trying to cram them into what you think, okay, we need this over here. But companies, I think, that are going to really do well in the future are going to do more to leverage the gifts of the people that they have already on staff. And so that's some of what I do. And then there's also for individuals. I've been,
And before
like I
you
said,
go off of
go
that
ahead.
one, I want to just jump on here because, I came out of the corporate world for 20 plus years. That was not a conversation that we had where it's like where we were really digging into the gifts of who we are. We were fitting into a box that, was predefined, and we'd step into that, but we were never really looking. And it was really new to me when I stepped out of the corporate world into the world of being an entrepreneur, and I started doing all my own work that tapped into those gifts of who we are. And I know that every single time we can, if we can really, as organizations really look at the skill sets and the talents of the mix of the people, there's so much opportunity that's being left on the table when they weren't doing that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And what has been really interesting is seeing what happens when you do listen in just a little bit and give your employees the I guess the give them the opportunities to allow them to try, to allow them to make mistakes and fail forward. Some of the most creative problem solving has come from employers trusting their employees to try new things. And then also from employees getting in a space where they actually feel confident and courageous enough to articulate and communicate kind of their truths and what it is that they want and need without being fearful of retaliation or, oh, I'm going to lose my job if I, say that this is what I need to feel successful or to feel supported in this environment. And so I feel like this is a part of my calling.
Yeah, I love it. And it's like all of the life experiences that led you to this place is helping you show up to make a difference with this, right? So that one message for the whole world for you is
connect to the heartbeats of your organization.
yes.
That's for companies. For individuals, connect to the heartbeats of what brings you joy, but also leverages your talents in a way that are going to help make our world better. I mean, it's all about the heartbeat.
And what I love about what you're doing here is you're doing it from both the organizational perspective and the individual perspective. And that, again, the ripple effect of that is really, really powerful.
It is. It is. And I think that any great organization needs great people. And sometimes we have great people within our ranks, but we forget that they just need to be developed. I have a system called the DARE method where we develop, engage, attract, and retain employees. And I have seen what happens when we pay attention to ensuring that people because once you get someone on board, you have to be with them in their shadow days and their light days. So if they have talents or if they have areas where they're weak and you think, oh, well, they're replaceable. What's happening now is I think more and more companies are recognizing that it's really about being renewable. You can take those same employees and literally inject into them what they need so that they can work and perform even better for you. And not just from a productivity standpoint, but just your culture. When you start losing your people, you lose the heartbeat of your culture.
Yeah. And I love the word renewable, that it becomes like you're renewing the energy of one of their most important assets within the organization. So powerful. Beautiful work you're doing and so needed. I think I see organizations are shifting and changing in big ways. They're realizing how important it is to invest back in that sort of a way. And I love that you're bringing strategy and giving them tools to be able to do that. So powerful, Asali. Go back to that time when you joined the Mastermind. What was calling you in? And then what's transformed, right? I mean, what's happened for you?
I'm laughing because what was calling me in is actually on this same interview. Charisse Sisou was a part of my introduction to this community. But what I would say is her book, Shameless, really, really touched my soul in a way where someone who had the experience of always being in the spotlight, because that was the kind of roles that I kept getting. I still didn't know how to master be invisible from a female leadership perspective. Yeah. And so she invited me to come to Colorado with her because she was going to be sharing her book with the world and her work. Oh, her work is so powerful.
Work is so good.
So anyway, that was a part of it. But where I was, it was that I recognized, hey, I'm no longer working for anyone, so I'm going to need to work for myself. I can look at this and feel like, oh, woe is me. My position was eliminated. But really, that was my jump start, was getting the introduction and then recognizing that I didn't have to do what I've been doing for years alone. And so within this community, I went from, okay, I'm just going to serve, one-on-one individuals to, wait a minute, I've got all of this that I've done and all of these people that I've created amazing partnerships with in this organization. Now my mindset has shifted because I feel like this community has really supported me with getting things in order in terms of my services, getting more clarity, really leveraging my gifts in a way where it is, I don't want to say bring me the most bang for my buck, but that too.
Totally. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to spend time building a business, it's like build the business that's really going to serve your talents, showing up in the world in bigger ways. And that's what I've really seen the shift for you is when you found the clarity around serving organizations, it was a bigger impact that really came from that.
And now I'm like the hairdresser with the bad hairstyle. Now I have to do for myself. I have to make sure on my social media and my website, I'm like, that's the blessing and the curse of being multi-passionate, is that I ended up doing my own website. Now I'm like, wait a minute, Asali, you need some help now, because your offerings have to really be truly reflected and accessible for your audience. So
yeah, one of the things I know, Asali, is if somebody ever said business was a straight line, right? You just went from here to here, right? It just doesn't work that way. It's evolving. We grow, and that's the fun part of being an entrepreneur.
Yes. And what you just said is so spot on, because there's that part of me from my corporate world, everything is so linear, like you go up, up. But then as an entrepreneur, it's like you'll have these cycles where you're figuring things out, you're changing things real time, and you are recognizing for yourself, like, I need a little more of this and I need a little bit more of that. And, maybe I'll change this, and giving myself that grace, since I've been a part of this and other communities, this one in particular, I really feel so much more sure of my voice, and not from where it's coming from my head, but really coming from as you say, soul inspired space. So
yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, we'll come back to both you and Diana, and we'll get some more. We're not done with you guys. We're going to move on to Charisse Sisou, and I'm so excited to have you, Charisse, here in the community. And the whole, I think Asali said this so beautifully, you show up in your work so beautifully. So tell us a bit more about you.
Wow. Where do I begin? Yes. So Charisse Sisou, CharisseSisou.com. Asali and I go way back. We were dancers together. So it's just, there's so much love and, community there. So I am, so speaking of that, being multi-passionate and being on that journey, I have just really started to own this aspect of myself as the modern day priestess to women who lead, and have just launched. And this is part of what was really empowered through being a part of the Mastermind and having that community and that like bouncy jumping off point. Is I've just launched Queen's Mind, which is the entrepreneurial mystery school and soulful sisterhood you've been looking for. All the, I love hearing everyone's stories. And I was thinking about, Diane, you're on, oh my gosh, is it Diane or Diana? It's probably Diana. Diana, got you. Is all about like sustainable readers. I know my optometrist, I blame her. She was like, you're pretty soon, you're going to need readers. I'm like, no. And then I got them and I was like, oh my God, I can see my phone again. So anyway, like Diana was talking about like sustainable homes and sustainable, and then Asali is like your people like really having this sustainable, renewable resource. And my work is also about like, sustainability for those of us, the light bringers, the change makers, we are on the leading edge of co-creating this new world together. It includes everyone who's on this call. It includes everyone who's listening and tuned in right now. And the most important things for us is community, energy management, leadership, and really like owning all parts of who we are, integrating all of the pieces because the world needs our magic. And the only way to do it is to let go of the fear, the shame, all the stuff that we've been taught about parts of ourselves that are, not coincidentally the most powerful aspects of ourselves, like our relationship with our body, our relationship with the earth, our relationship with our power, and our relationship with source. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it because when you think about, so what is it? I mean, what's that one message for the whole world? Let's start with that.
Oh my goodness. That's really hard to narrow down. And I've been thinking about this a lot, thanks to you, Cami. And it's really that right here, everything that we need to know is right here in our bodies. All the wisdom, the guidance, the healing is right here in these ancient vessels. Like they're more than vessels, right? They are the physical expression of our souls. And once we really like get that, it's like, oh, all the answers are right here. It's like self-doubt, all the rest kind of falls away when we really learn to trust ourselves and know that we have all the answers right here.
So
that's Divine Mother saying, yes, she's right.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's exactly what it is saying. I'm all into that. So I think that so this was concepts that you've had that have been there, and you have another part of your business that is a really successful part of, your world. But there was this big shift, this big calling for you. What did that feel like to follow that divine yes?
Okay, this has been so cool. So what's emerging now is like CharisseSisou.com and Queen's Mind. The seeds of this were planted years ago. They were actually planted, well, my whole life, but
maybe, or lifetimes.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Yeah, we don't even have to go there. Like just tune into my podcast when it's launched, like to hear all those stories. But through many lifetimes, through many lives, like where I am now, like I had done earlier iterations of this, Claim Your Feminine, different programs that I'd offered. And at the same time, I had this side hustle. Even when I was a professional belly dancer for 10 years, along with the beautiful Asali. And that's how we met. So cool. And there's no cooler way. But anyway, like I was really recognizing this call to kind of talk about feminine presence and feminine leadership, which is really something that I was learning as a dancer, like how to command a room without saying a single word, right? It's really powerful. And then at the same time, as glamorous as that life is, like it doesn't exactly pay the bills. So I had this side hustle where I was writing, and I grew that and grew that and grew that to a 6-figure plus copy agency. I was doing marketing strategy and copy to some of the most amazing entrepreneurs in the world, including you, Cami, and executives at some of the biggest companies. And what the shift, what's so amazing is like, it's like exactly like what you were talking about, Asali. Like we become masters at this because it is our own journey. And for me, really integrating all parts of who I was. Like the copy agency is such a beautiful and amazing part of what I offer. And it wasn't the whole thing. Like I didn't get to be my whole priestess self. And now I get to be my whole priestess self. It's like, what? I can get like woo and like strategy in the same place. Like, yes, not only yes, but it's like what the world needs now. It's what
it is. And I mean, that's a different way of doing business that we're all shifting into, right? I mean, I think that's the beauty of that. It's the old ways of doing business. If we stayed stuck there, we'd stay stuck there.
Yeah.
And this is the shift that's really happening, is really tapping into this deeper wisdom inside of us. And I remember when you and I were talking at Ignite, you said to me, I know my work is meant to be more. What did that mean?
Well, what did that mean? I knew. So this was one of the things with the copy agency, right? Is I get to serve amazing clients pretty much one-on-one, right? They represent a company, but it's still, and it's a really sacred contract, and it's beautiful. And I'm like wired like a belly dancer. Like I am wired to, I'm really wired for like one to many. I like to joke that like this would never happen, but like if Oprah and RuPaul had a baby, it would be me. Like on a stage, they would probably, RuPaul would be like, "What? How dare you?" But like on a stage, broadcasting, reaching as many people as possible. It's like where I thrive. It's where like all the cells are going, like, it's like where it's just a full body yes. And so does that answer that question?
It does. Yeah. And it was just that, it was that big call. I mean, you had a call inside and you knew it, that it was meant to be more. What's transformed for you since you've become, I mean, so you're part of the Platinum Mastermind group. So what's transformed for you?
Well, I've really been able to honor that pull, that calling. And so what I'll share is like, I've worked with other business coaches in the past, and they really liked the feminine thing, and they were like, build the copy first and all that stuff. And it honestly, it's all divine timing. That was like the laboratory where I've kind of like learned all of the things that I get to now integrate into Queen's Mind. And just having, I'll never forget, because it was like at our first, we did like a 2-day live mastermind, which was so cool. And we're mapping out our, revenue for the year, like kind of laying out that strategy and plan. And I started just kind of like doing what I've done for the last few years, which is like, okay, how many copy clients, the sales pages, You can already hear in my voice, like how freaking excited I was about that. And you were like, why don't you do the goddess work? That's what you called it. You were like, why don't you focus on the goddess work for this? And it was like, I mean, it was like the skies opened, because then we're just plugging it in. And it was like the other ladies, we did this for each other. Like it was so collaborative, and it was so co-creative. And this is what I love about your community, Cami, it wasn't just like me and like you coaching. It was like Katie jumping in and being like, Charisse, let me show you how easy this would be. And she's like filling out a spreadsheet, and like, Shelly and Jill like holding space and being like, you could do this, and it'd be this, and it'd be so easy, and blah, blah, blah. And it was like suddenly, and I knew this too, was that what had felt a bit constrictive, like, you can grow this much, now there was something that was so scalable, so like the opportunity was and the timing was just so absolutely right. So yeah.
And as now Queen's Mind is about ready is in the launching phase right now.
Yeah. And I'm inviting beautiful, amazing people in right this moment.
Yeah. And the whole, I mean, so you think of a mastermind and a Queen's Mind. So Queen's Mind, there's a whole new level of love and energy. It's like, yeah. So we'll tell you more about how you can learn more about that as we wrap back around here. We're going to step into the second set of questions, and Charisse, we'll just stay with you right now. Showing up for others means that you have to take care of yourself. What is it that you do to take care of you right now?
Oh my gosh, so many things. So this is what I found again and again, is that it's so much about the basics, right? And so I do a lot for self-care. I'm kind of a queen of self-care, and it's a big piece of it's a big piece of my expertise. And I'm like, there's this constant return to basics, just like as a dancer. You go back.
You're right. It's never like, okay, I just got it.
Yeah. It's this spiral journey, right? So it's like, yes, I meditate, I do dance breaks, I do this. Right now, my big focus is like water. This is a message straight from, Divine Mother herself. Is like, it's like even beyond, right? It's like, cheers, like beyond hydration, right? It was just like this kind of like purification. So I'm really focused on that, and making sure that I'm just like soothing every cell in my body in this way, to the full extent. And then my sleep, right? So this has been allowing myself to take a nap when I need a nap, rather than like reaching for coffee or what have you. Like I love my morning coffee, but I can't do it throughout the day. Otherwise it throws me off all out of sync. And the next part of that I'm doing right now is really looking at who made up this idea that the workday needs to be from 8 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So how can I get so much rest, be able to have that leisurely, like spaced out day? Like I love to work. Like I come from a long line of like hardworking immigrants. Like that doesn't bother me at all. And as long as I have that balance of like rest, restoration, I can come in like jazzed and full energy to bring my
Is
full
that new
self.
for you to let go of some of the hard work into the more flowing approach?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
It was like a whole dismantling for me for years. There was this connection between like hard work and worth. And it's a very strong story in my lineage. It's like, I love to share the story of like my aunt who was literally being driven from one job to another. She didn't drive herself. And then in the car, she'd be sleeping. And literally that was because that's when she slept. And then she would go to the other job and then she'd work there. And then she'd like sleep in the car on the way to the next job. And then she'd work there. Like, and it's this idea of like, this is how you make money. This is how you add value.
Yeah. And it's
is like-
entrenched deep, right? I mean, I totally get that. I've definitely had those same things that I've really had to break out of those habits.
Totally. So it's really been like a stretching of that, knowing that I have so much worth just by showing up and just by being myself and bringing all that who I am. And it's not associated to like the hours or like the sweat equity or all of that stuff. And it's been a journey for sure. Cause of course, like, the old voices are like, but so that's been transformative.
So what's one pearl of wisdom you'd like to leave for our listeners?
Just in general or around that?
Just in general.
Well, what I would say is, related to what I was saying before about like how all the answers are here, right? And we've spent a whole lifetime like basically ignoring what she wants, right?
Yeah.
So my pearl of wisdom would be like, start small, start with the littlest thing, and it could just be like, oh, I need to pee right now. Gotta go. You know what I mean?
Remember to pee.
You make ourselves wait, or like it's time to get something to drink, or just really, do I want a blueberry or a strawberry right now?
Yeah.
And just really kind of sinking into like, what does your body want to communicate with you? And just being open to those messages. And she might at first be a little reticent, because you haven't talked to her in a while. So she's all like, yeah, whatever. And then, but the more that you just keep like tuning in and asking and tuning in and asking, the more you will get that response and reaction. And it's just so amazing, because when you start living that way, the confidence is like this. Self-doubt just falls away and confidence is like this, because it's like, this is what I desire. This is the right next step right now. And it goes from those small decisions all the way up to, do I work with this partner? Do I hire this team member? Do I, you start to get those answers from your body as well.
Listen. Yeah. That's so good. So good. Okay. So where can people learn more about you and your work?
Sure. They can go to CharisseSisou.com. I know no one can spell it. And so that's why it's there on the screen. And if you're interested in Queen's Mind, it's just CharisseSisou.com/Queen's Mind, and you can learn all about it there. There is a great, we'll talk about that later, but that's where you can connect with me and learn more about me. And
what was the other, was that your freebie?
Actually, what I'd love to do for the freebie, I'm looking at the link and it's freaking long, and I'm like, thank you, team. They did awesome, actually. I am doing a full moon dance party next Monday. So just a little under a week away, as just a free offering to like dance and shake and move through the energy of the full moon is actually Saturday, but we're going to feel that energy like the few days before and after. So it's just an opportunity to raise your vibration, raise the collective vibration, get to know a little bit more about me, and just have a really good time. So that is a shamelessmovement.com, which is my book's website, and Full Moon Dance Party. But I'll drop that.
Yeah, go drop it into the comments.
I'll drop it into the comments.
Yeah.
And you can also DM me if you were like, what was that? So yeah, don't worry about that.
Excellent. So make sure you guys are, as you're tuning in, make sure you're connecting to all of these amazing women. They'll go out and comment after the call so that you can do that. So excellent. Okay, Asali, how are you? So you're taking care of corporations and people who are really tapping into their own self-worth. How are you taking care of you?
I'm not. No, I'm joking. I am.
Oh yeah, what was that thing?
Right. No, you know what? I am learning to take time for myself and ask for help. I was always the helper, always the problem solver, and that woman is realizing her limitations. And so with taking time for myself and asking for help, I was born and raised Buddhist.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I was born and raised Buddhist, but my parents were interesting in that they allowed me to go to church with my aunt. I had some experiences with Islam. I had I have always been someone who respects all paths, but growing up, I chanted, and that was something that was embedded in me as a form of meditation. There's different sects of Buddhism, and so some focus on chanting, some focus on more esoteric practices, and meditation is one of the things that I've been doing for myself. Is 10 minutes in the morning. Even if my husband's up and the cats are at the door, he'll literally go and get the coffee started and allow me to have my 10 minutes to sit in silence before I actually maybe throw on my clothes to eat breakfast and then come back up and do my prayers. So that's been really helpful.
And I remember the other day you said something, train your husband to let you have that space.
I hope he doesn't watch this. No. I'm joking. But yeah, it's like the asking for help part and getting the support because he knows for years I struggled. I don't think many people notice about me, but I think most people assume that I'm an extrovert. But I am actually someone who really struggled with social anxiety and perfectionism for years. But now I give myself a lot more grace to make mistakes. I listen more to people. I take myself a lot less seriously. I laugh a lot with my friends and family about how incredibly messy it is to be human. And these are things that have allowed me to be in a space where I'm comfortable having Fridays as my off day. I
have good boundaries.
And there was something I think I may have heard it in your group. Whenever I have something in front of me, usually it's like, okay, the task got to get done. What do I need to do, or all the things? But now it's like I really tap into how is it that I want to feel? What is it that I want the person on the other end to receive from this? And then so I do those woo things. Like if I need to light a candle or meditate or dance, because like Charisse, the dance part of me that shut myself off in corporate, because it was like, oh, well, if they see you in a costume, they're not going to take you seriously. I remember being told that. And it's true. People, once they find out certain things, they're like, oh, you're probably somebody. Oh, you might have got your job because of, and it's like, you have no idea like how multidimensional I am as a human being, and that we all are. Yeah. But the opportunities now to take time to pause, to say, I'm going to focus on how I want to feel as opposed to what I need to do, because that'll be the push that gets me there. And hypnotherapy, Diana hit on it earlier. That has really been helpful. I found an amazing clinical counseling hypnotherapist. When my therapist alone wasn't cutting it, and I recognized some of the blocks that it was just like, you can talk to me all day and night, but I'm not receiving this. Now with hypnotherapy, that's something I too want to get certified in. It's so powerful to shift people's mindsets when they're tired, you're sleepy, and you just sit and listen, and you're like, oh, you wake up and you're like, okay, I got this. So
this is our factor, right? It's how we resonate starts with all of this work that you guys are doing. So beautiful. So, so beautiful. So what's the one pearl of wisdom that you'd like to leave with us?
The one pearl, I think I actually just said it, is um, get help changing your mindset. If you're stuck and your therapist isn't cutting it, invest in a life coach or invest in a hypnotherapist, but invest in someone who supports you with where you are. And it's not from that detached clinical, like you're the subject, I can't get too emotionally involved with you. Although my therapist is not that way. She's amazing. But invest in someone that is going to support you on the journey so that you can show up for yourself in your life full of vitality and ready to do the world, in a way that you're in it and you can navigate it.
Love it. Love it. And where can people learn more about you and your business?
Well, you can go to my website, empowered by Asali, ASALI.com. And that's where you can learn about me. And that'll keep changing because now I realize that I have to have someone do it for me as opposed to trying to do it myself. So, yeah. Go to empoweredbyasali.com.
And do you have any gifts to extend out to anyone?
Absolutely. I have one actually on my website now, but it's a gift for individuals who are in the career exploration phase. So I would just say for anyone who's interested, you can go to my website. I have free 30-minute strategy sessions that I offer. And all you have to do for any page, just click on either individuals or businesses and set yourself up for that free 30-minute strategy session before I get really, really busy. I would love to have you come and check me out and see if I'm a fit to support you.
Awesome. 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 Thank you. And Diana, so how are you taking care of yourself right now? What are the things you're doing?
Well, I have this injury.
Yeah,
so I am taking care of myself in that way. It's, you don't realize how much you really need two hands to do everything. So I actually did go and get, I went to get a manicure and a pedicure, and I didn't let them know I only have one hand that you can work on. And they were like, we gave you a 50% discount since we could only do one hand. And I used to get those on a regular basis, but in this last year, I kind of let it fall off. So I'm starting to do that again because with two hands, you can give yourself a manicure, but with one, you can't even give yourself a manicure. So, so that is one way. I actually got 2 facials in the last, that's one of my favorite things in the last couple months. And honestly, the hypnosis class is for me. I feel like it is, I'm learning, but a lot of people don't know hypnosis really is more, it really feels like a guided meditation. And so like Asali, you mentioned, meditation is so important. And when I my past therapist used to go, you need to meditate. And I always imagined it was just like sitting there in silence. And then when I started in hypnosis, I'm like, this was what I was looking for all along. And you can do, healing and better sleeping. And I did it before my surgery. And it's been what has been helping me sleep is the hypnosis, self-hypnosis meditation. So it's amazing. I also am putting some travel in there, and there's our mentor is putting on the first Solar Con, and it's not anything about sales. It's just meeting people in the industry and learning. So I get to go to Utah for the first time, and then I have a trip booked to see my grandbabies, and Asali and Charisse, I'm going to Chicago because that's where they are, and so I'd love to get together. And then we are creating a solar team in Illinois because they just got a new tax incentive for going solar, a state incentive. So a whole bunch of things that's going to be some work, some play, but I'm committed. I'm really more committed to the facials and the manicure pedicure as my self-care. Yeah.
Well, and what's your one pearl of wisdom?
Just, so, I mean, we talk about self-care, right? But it is different for everyone else. Yeah. So even if self-care is going for a drive by yourself or going for a little walk or what, it can be the smallest of things. It doesn't have to be a manicure and pedicure. It can be, read a chat, go find a corner and read a chapter of a book. It's so important. And that self-care. And then also I think we're in this amazing group of women, right? And so I think for women that maybe aren't in a group like this, they forget they probably still do have a group of women around them. They're just not utilizing each other. And women are the best at supporting each other. So use those women around you for your support, like it's so important, because I love men, don't get me wrong, but they work differently than we do.
We lift each other up. We really
do.
Awesome.
We do. We really need that.
So where can people learn more about you and your work, Diana?
At altitudesolarpower.com. Make sure you get the power word in there, because we're working on our SEO, but there's another website out there, but altitudesolarpower.com. Very simple, new and great website. I do post a lot of things on Facebook. I just try to be informational about what's going on in the industry, because things are changing so fast. But I also wanted to say one quick thing. Charisse and my mom took a belly dancing class at 75. And I was like, "You're what?" And I was like, "I just love that about you." And in the first that weekend group that you had, Kimmy, where we all first met, like your belly dancing thing, Charisse, was like my funnest part. Like it was a great weekend, everything. But your belly dancing, I had so much fun. So much fun. And
everybody had fun with that one.
Yes, it was so much fun. Yes.
Do you have a free gift at all?
I do. I am, if anyone is interested in looking at whether solar makes sense for your home, we are doing 6 months. We pay for your 6 months of solar payments, your first 6 months of solar payments. And so just, you can reach out on the website, or you can reach out to me directly. I'll put my number in the chat and just mention Diana 6 months free, and I will know what you're talking about.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, this has been so much fun, ladies. Thank you for all who are tuning in. And I just want to put out there again, if you want to be part of an amazing community, like you're going to be meeting over the next 2 weeks, you're going to get to meet so many of these wonderful women. And if you want to be a part of a community like that, if you want to raise up your voice, if you want to create the impact that you want to create in the world, if you want to grow your business because you know your business is meant to be more, you know your impact is meant to be more, let's have a conversation. I've got 5 spots. You can reach out to me directly at cammie@cammiegelner.com, or you can just comment in the notes here and we will get connected and I'll get you into one of those 5 spots. So thanks, ladies, for joining us. Is there anything else? Oh, so tomorrow, we're going to have Liz Morgan, who talks about food culture she's a food culture transnista, creating deep healing for the people and the planet. We have Shelly Shell, who is about helping you get intentional with your money and making an impact with what kind of decisions you're making with your money. There's so much that we can choose how we make an impact. And we've got Kathy McCarty, who is going to be talking about how we keep our homes safe and make sure, and from the world of meth toxins. She has an incredible story, and she's making a huge impact around the country, helping others find resources to heal from meth toxins that have been in their homes, or making sure that this doesn't happen to you. So such powerful women. We're going to be sharing stories with over this week and next week on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Thanks for being here, and thanks, ladies.
Thanks for having us. It was so great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Cammie. Thank you, ladies.
Cammie, thank you.